Take a deep breath for a moment. What if this discomfort you're feeling, this sense that something just doesn't fit anymore, isn't a sign that you've failed? What if it is, in fact, the silent proof that you are exactly where you need to be? I know what your mind might be telling you, that this restlessness is a mistake, that this feeling of being out of place, of no longer belonging to the same places and conversations as before, is a step backward. Perhaps you feel tired of trying, tired of feeling that your own life has become a cocoon that's too tight, a place that once felt safe, but now it just suffocates you. This pain is not your imagination. It is real, and it has a sacred purpose. This feeling is not the sound of your collapse. It's the sound of your expansion. It is the unmistakable sign that your soul, your consciousness, has grown so much that your current reality has become too small. Like a piece of clothing that once fit perfectly, but today it restricts your movement and holds your breath. This discomfort is the call for you to recognize your own greatness and finally allow yourself to occupy a larger space. And it is on this threshold, this sacred space between what was and what will be, that the human mind becomes most confused. It's here that it whispers its deepest doubts. You are lost. You are broken. Am I worthy of something better? It mistakes the silence of the universe for absence, but listen with your heart, not with your fears. You are not lost or broken. You are between chapters. Think of the most profound story you've ever known. Between one passage of great transformation and the next, there is always a space, a pause, a blank page where the hero isn't in action, but in integration, where the journey's energy regroups silently for the next great leap. This moment you are living now, which may seem empty or stagnant, is pulsing with an invisible yet immensely potent energy. It is the energy of pre-transformation. It is the stillness of the chrysalis, where the caterpillar completely dissolves before it can dream of having wings. All this apparent inertia is the buildup of force that precedes what quantum science calls a leap. A nige, it is your consciousness realigning in the unseen, gathering the power needed for a change that doesn't happen linearly, but all at once. And how does it feel, in body and soul, to live in this transitional space? You feel as if life is happening at a distance, as if you're watching a movie about yourself, but without the emotional connection. The passions that once set your soul on fire are now fading embers. The goals that were once your North Star now seem like random points on an old map. Your old impulses no longer ignite you. The day-to-day can feel empty, an echo of rituals that have lost their soul. You move, you work, you talk. But a part of you, the most real part, remains quiet, observing. It's the feeling of living on autopilot, afraid of growing old without having fulfilled your soul's true mission. Don't be alarmed. This is not depression. It is a phase of transition. It is your identity, that careful construction of who you learn to be, beginning to dissolve. The titles, the roles, the certainties, everything that gave you an outline is losing its shape. You are not losing your purpose. You are shedding the shell so that your true purpose can finally breathe. And you need to understand a fundamental truth about the universe. Every visible change is preceded by an invisible dissolution. Transformation doesn't begin in your job, your bank account, or your relationships. It begins in your energy field. Think of your life as a great building. To erect a new, stronger, and more luminous structure, you can't just paint over the old walls. You must first demolish the structure that no longer serves. What you are feeling now, this spiritual fatigue, this sense that your energy is blocked, is the sound of that internal demolition. It's the old beliefs, the old patterns, and the old frequencies being carefully dismantled. That is why you feel you are in this limbo. Because on the outside, the facade might look the same. Your routine, your address, the people, everything may seem unchanged, but inside there is a sacred construction site. Your feeling of being stuck is not a sign that the universe is silent. It is proof that the most important change is already happening, in the only dimension that truly matters, the dimension of your energy. Modern science has a poetic name for this state you inhabit, a name your soul already knows. It's the principle of superposition. Quantum physicists, when looking at the heart of matter, discovered something that ancient sages and mystics have always known in their hearts. At the most fundamental level, a particle of energy is not a solid thing. It is, in fact, a field of infinite possibilities. It exists in all of its potential futures at the same time, like a wave of pure energy, until the moment it is observed. You, right now, are that particle. You are no longer the identity that has dissolved, and you have not yet solidified into the new reality that is to come. You are in superposition, floating in this quantum ocean, where all your possible futures coexist as a vibration, as a promise. Your future health, your future peace, your future love, none of it needs to be created from scratch. It already exists as a frequency in this field. In this state, you are not empty. You are full of all potential. And that is precisely why this moment is so sacred and so powerful. You are at point zero, where everything can be chosen anew. But let's be honest, living in this state of pure potential, at this 0 point, has a physical and emotional signature. And often that signature is discomfort. This is where the body can feel heavy, the mind confused. The fatigue can be profound, a weariness that seems to come from the soul. And fear takes the opportunity to whisper that this is a collapse, that you are breaking from the inside out. Take a deep breath and hear this with your entire being. What you are experiencing is not a collapse. It is a recalibration. The discomfort you feel in your body and soul is the sound of your old vibrational frequency dissolving to make way for the new one. Your nervous system, your cells, your emotional memory, everything is learning to hold a new light, a new consciousness. And this process of detaching from the old pattern creates friction. It creates tiredness. It creates confusion. It is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is the audible and sensory evidence that your healing is in full swing. You are not falling apart. You are tuning yourself. But our mind, conditioned by a lifetime of acting, solving, and producing, it doesn't understand the wisdom of the pause. It panics in the silence. And what does it do when it panics? It tries to resist. It tries to fill the sacred space of the void with noise. The noise of distractions that don't nourish, the noise of conversations that drain you, the noise of forcing yourself to be productive when your soul is begging just to be, the noise of old habits, old relationships, old identities, anything to avoid facing the vastness of what is being born. To resist this phase is to unconsciously label it as a failure. It's to hear the static of recalibration and call it a mistake. And every time you fill the silence with external noise, you prevent the true transformation from deepening. You postpone the encounter with your essence because your essence only whispers its truths in the quiet. This struggle against the process is a form of self-sabotage. It's what keeps you tired and seeing everything remain the same, because the energy that should be used for reconstruction is being spent on resistance. So what is this discomfort actually asking of you? If it's not to fight, if it's not to fill the void with noise, what is the true instruction? The instruction is one thing: let go. This discomfort is a biological and spiritual signal for you to release the old, not to try and resurrect it. Every time the pain of an old pattern arises, every time nostalgia for who you used to be visits you, understand this: It is not an invitation from the universe to go back. It is a memory rising to the surface to be released with love. It is your soul giving you a chance to say goodbye. What you need to let go of is your outdated coherence. It's the old alignment between your heart and your mind that kept you safe in the reality you have outgrown. Trying to feel how you used to feel, think how you used to think, or act how you used to act is like trying to play the music of the future on a broken instrument. Your sacred task now is not to fix what was. It is to allow what has already served its purpose to finally rest. It is to stop repeating negative patterns, not through force, but through surrender. And when you stop fighting, when you finally let go, what is left? The void, the silence, that space the mind fears so much, but the soul longs for. Understand, this is not a void of absence, it is a void of pure potential. This is the most sacred space on your journey. It is the cosmic womb. It is the pause between death and rebirth, where true transformation happens in silence, far from the eyes of the world. All wisdom traditions honor this moment. It is the fertile darkness of the earth in winter, where the seed gathers strength to sprout in the spring. It is here, in this apparent nothingness, that your new reality is being woven in the energetic field. And this sacred space does not ask for effort, plans, or control. It asks for only one thing: your presence, your stillness. It invites you to be the silent witness of your own alchemy. It is the practice of simply being there in the midst of your own reconstruction, trusting that beneath the surface of the quiet, a new foundation is solidifying. Presence is the way back home, and it is from this place of presence that you begin to co-create in the highest way. Here, you discover the secret that our culture of striving has made us forget. The quantum field, the great mirror of your soul, does not respond to the strength of your muscles or the anxiety of your mind. It responds to the clarity of your frequency. It doesn't react to your effort. It resonates with your energy. That is why the exhaustion of trying to manifest change and seeing everything stay the same is so real. Trying to force a new reality while your body is still vibrating in fear, doubt, or lack is like shouting at the radio to change the station. That's not how it works. Your only job is to tune in. And here is the most liberating truth. You do not need to create your new reality from scratch. It already exists. In the infinite field of potentials, the version of you that lives in peace, in health, and in abundance is already a vibrational reality, a frequency that is already on the air. Your job is not to fight to get there. Your job is to align with the vibration of what you desire, here and now. It is to begin to feel in your heart and in your body the emotion of your new life, even before it materializes. You are not attracting something distant. You are simply allowing the reality that is already yours by vibrational right to collapse into your field of view. And how does this attunement feel in the body? What is the sensation of aligning with a reality that cannot yet be seen? Think of it as a bow being drawn. For the arrow to fly forward with force and precision, the archer must first pull the string backward, in the opposite direction of the target. To the eyes of someone who doesn't understand the dynamics of power, it would seem like a movement of regression. All the tension you feel in your system right now, the pressure, the discomfort, the feeling that your energy is blocked, that is the bowstring of your life being pulled back. You are not regressing. You are accumulating energy for your propulsion. The tension is not a sign that you are breaking. It is the very fuel for your quantum leap. And the discomfort, that feeling of being stuck in an almost unbearable silence, that is not a detour on your path. It is your trajectory being calibrated. It is the archer's focus. It is proof that your intention is clear and your energy is being concentrated on a single point of power. The deeper the tension you feel now, the farther and faster the arrow of your new reality will fly when it's time to let go. But what happens when the archer, at the exact moment of maximum tension, doubts? What if, fearing the very power they have accumulated, they decide to slacken the string? The arrow falls, the energy dissipates, the launch is aborted. This is exactly what happens when you resist this phase. Every time you return to an old pattern of thought, every time you seek validation from people who still vibrate at your old frequency, you are loosening the string of your bow. Trying to rebuild the old is what keeps you trapped between two timelines. Think about it. You no longer belong to your past reality. Your energy has already outgrown it. But by clinging to it, you also prevent yourself from fully anchoring in the new one. You remain in the doorway, in a hallway between two worlds, truly belonging to neither. And that is the source of the feeling of being spiritually lost, as if the universe were silent. It is the cycle of self-sabotage in its most subtle form. This stagnation is not a punishment. It is simply the law of energy in action. The universe cannot deliver the new to you while your hands are busy trying to hold onto the ruins of what once was. So how do you begin to let go? How do you train your hands to open when the habit of clenching is so old? It starts with a subtle shift in the quality of your attention, with a new question. The mind, when it sees something falling apart, a friendship that cools, a project that loses its shine, a path that closes, it immediately asks, how can I fix this? It operates from a fear of loss, but the soul operates from the wisdom of transformation. I invite you, instead of trying to fix what is departing, to take a deep breath and ask yourself the most powerful question for this moment. What is this making space for? Shift your focus. Instead of trying to patch up the fabrics that are tearing, begin to notice with a sacred curiosity what is falling away on its own. Friendships, interests, old desires. Do not fight their departure. Just observe. Everything that leaves is creating a fertile vacuum, a clean space. This question moves you from the position of someone who is losing something to the position of someone who is preparing to receive. It is your way of asking the universe, what are you trying to show me? And as you practice this new way of observing, what are the signs that confirm this internal change is real? They are whispers in your daily life. The first is unpredictability. Life seems to go off script. Solid plans fall apart, important conversations are postponed, paths that seemed certain close without warning. This isn't the universe blocking you. It's the universe freeing you from futures that have already become too small. The second sign is hollow routines. It's the feeling of living on autopilot, where your body performs the daily rituals, but your soul is no longer there. Food loses its taste. Songs lose their emotion. This is a clear sign that your energy has already withdrawn from that experience, even if your physical body still performs it. And the third sign, the most intimate, is emotional static. It's not a sharp pain, but a constant background noise, a sensitivity, an irritation, or a fatigue that has no logical cause. It is your nervous system feeling the friction between your new internal frequency and the denser vibration of old environments, people, and situations. All of these are signs of a profound shift in resonance. Honor them. They are proof that your transformation is real and is already happening. And what is the root cause behind all these signs? There is a name for it at the point where science and spirituality meet. It's called decoherence. It is the state of misalignment between your inner world and your outer world. Think of it as two songs playing at the same time in completely different keys. One is the new melody of your soul, which yearns for peace, purpose, and silence. The other is the old music of your routine, your obligations, the expectations that no longer represent you. This dissonance, this clash of frequencies is what creates the emotional noise, the confusion, the feeling of always being out of place. And that creates an overwhelming fatigue, a spiritual exhaustion that sleep cannot cure. Sustaining an external reality that is no longer in resonance with your inner truth consumes an immense amount of vital energy. It's the effort of wearing a mask that has become too heavy. It's trying to be two people at the same time, the one you are ceasing to be and the one you are becoming. This exhaustion is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign that your soul is refusing to continue investing energy in a reality that has already died inside. And when your soul completely withdraws its energy from an old reality, the external structure which depended on that energy to stand inevitably begins to crumble. The feeling for the mind is that of falling apart, of breaking. But I need you to take a deep breath and hear this with every cell in your body. You are not falling apart. You are hatching. You are not breaking inside. You are breaking free. You are breaking free from your old timeline, from that future that was already semi-written based on your past wounds and your limiting beliefs. That path that would lead you to repeat the same negative and self-sabotaging patterns is being, at this very moment, dismantled. What looks like a collapse is, in fact, an act of rescue. It is your soul, in its infinite wisdom, breaking the bars of the "it has always been this way" prison, so that you can finally enter the freedom of choosing who you want to be in each new moment. You are not breaking, you are being reborn. Think of your consciousness as an operating system. For years you ran on an old version, programmed with beliefs of survival, effort and unworthiness. And that system served you, protected you, and brought you this far. But your soul is now trying to install an update, a new version of you, a version that operates on a frequency of trust, purpose, and love. What you feel as a collapse or breakdown is, in fact, a system crash. It's your old operating system being simply unable to process the light and frequency of your new self. The old hardware, your thought patterns, your automatic emotional reactions can no longer handle the power of the new software being installed. The system overloads and it crashes. But the crash is not the end. It is the most necessary of signs. It is a mandatory update notification. It is your deepest self telling you in the clearest way possible. This old system can no longer take you where your soul needs to go. A full reboot is required. And what are all these parts of your old system that are falling away? The people, the places, the habits, the beliefs. Think of them as the scaffolding of your soul, that relationship, that job, that old version of yourself. They were the scaffolding that supported you and protected you while your new consciousness was being built silently from within. They were perfect and absolutely necessary for the work. And it's natural to feel a silent grief when this scaffolding begins to be removed. Because for a long time, you may have confused the support structure with the building itself. You believed that you were that role, that you were that relationship. Seeing them go can feel like everything is falling apart. But hear the truth. The scaffolding was meant to come down. Its departure is not a sign that the work has failed. On the contrary, it is proof that your new internal structure is now strong enough to stand on its own. The scaffolding is being removed so that the beauty of your true essence, of your true self, can finally be seen. Do not curse the structures that are leaving. Thank each and every one of them. They fulfilled their divine purpose. Their fall is the celebration of your new strength. But even knowing that the scaffolding needs to come down, why is it so hard to let it go? The answer lies in the deepest programming of your mind. You need to understand with compassion that your mind is not your enemy. It is a survival mechanism, and for it, safety is synonymous with familiarity. It is addicted to what is known. Even if the known is constant pain, a frustrating limitation, or a cycle of self-sabotage for the mind, this familiar pain is safer than the unpredictable vastness of the new. And it is this craving for the familiar that sabotages the transformation. Every time you feel the urge to go back to the old, to reconnect with what hurt you but was predictable, it's your mind trying to protect you from the unknown. This act of clinging to what has already died is the most subtle and powerful form of energetic self-sabotage. By doing this, you are deliberately keeping yourself in a state of misalignment, dividing your own life force. You use a small part of your energy to dream of the new, and the greater part of it to chain yourself to the old. It is the essence of living by repeating negative patterns without knowing how to break them. And how does the universe respond to this internal division of yours, to this struggle between your soul and your mind? With absolute precision, the quantum field, this vast creative intelligence, does not judge you. The universe does not punish or reward. It reflects. It is a perfect mirror of your coherence or your resistance. When you are in resistance, wanting the new, but with most of your energy still anchored in the fear and familiarity of the old, you send a confused, blurred energetic signal to the universe. And what does the mirror do with a blurred image? It reflects a blurred reality. This is why change seems stagnant. Resistance does not stop the transformation. It just forces the universe to perfectly mirror your inner paralysis. But when you choose alignment, when you let go of the ties of the past and allow yourself to be, in your heart, the person you are becoming, you send a clear signal, a laser of pure intention. And the mirror reflects this clarity back to you, accelerating the manifestation in a way your logical mind could never calculate. Alignment is what moves worlds. Resistance is what keeps you trapped between them. So you choose alignment. You become the clear signal. And paradoxically, what happens next? Often what happens is friction, an argument that arises out of nowhere, an unexpected obstacle, a wave of doubt or fear that visits you during the night. The old reality doesn't give up without a fight. As your new frequency becomes more potent, it inevitably clashes with the density of what is being left behind. And your mastery now is to be the witness of this friction without getting attached to it. Your reactive mind will want to pull you into the center of the drama, but your soul invites you to take a step back and just observe. To observe the discomfort without becoming the discomfort. To be the sky that watches the storm cloud pass, knowing that you are not the cloud, and from this place of the observer, you can begin to see the friction in a new way, not as a sign that you are on the wrong path, but as irrefutable proof that something much bigger is coming. The friction is evidence that your new energy is so powerful that it is literally displacing the structure of your old life. It is the tremor that precedes the birth of a new earth. And amidst all this friction, your mind begs for one thing above all else: clarity. It wants a map, a 5-step plan, a guarantee. And the absence of this not knowing, can feel like the deepest confusion. But what if I told you that clarity has not abandoned you? It is just reorganizing itself on a deeper level. Think of a kaleidoscope. For a new, more beautiful and complex pattern to form, the colored crystals must first go through a moment of chaos, of free fall, of disorder. What you perceive as confusion is the sound of the crystals of your life being realigned by a divine hand. This not knowing is not a mistake in your process, it is a protection. Behind the scenes of your reality, the universe is moving pieces that you cannot see. People are being prepared, Opportunities are being aligned, synchronicities are being woven. What feels like confusion on the surface of your mind is, in fact, a deep and silent alignment happening in the foundations of your soul. Clarity is not lost. It is just being assembled on such a larger scale that it requires your trust, not your understanding. And when this behind-the-scenes alignment is complete, how does the change finally happen? How do you make the leap? Here is a secret that goes against everything we have been taught about effort and struggle. You don't fight against gravity to make a quantum leap. You don't fight with your current reality to force the creation of a new one. That is the old way of creating, from separation and effort. True transformation is more subtle, more silent, and infinitely more powerful. You simply align with the frequency of the new reality. You allow yourself in the silence of your being to feel what it's like to already be there. And then, by a divine law of resonance, the potential reality collapses around your vibration. You don't leap into the new, you become the vibration of the new, and the new reorganizes itself around you. Change is not a battle, it is a collapse. A collapse of possibility into experience, which is triggered not by the force of your wanting, but by the purity of your being. But before the final landing, there is one last mirage, one last test. It is the moment of silence, of stillness, of the apparent void. It's when, on the outside, nothing seems to be happening and your faith, perhaps already shaken by so many disappointments, is put to the test. And it is here that your old mental programming makes its most convincing argument. See, nothing has changed. It was all in vain. This is stagnation. And your soul invites you to take a deep breath and remember the deepest truth. Silence, stillness, and the void are not signs of failure. They are the final phase of your recalibration. This is the great test of your consciousness. Not a test from the universe to punish you, but an invitation for you to choose which inner reality is your truth. Your old programming reads stillness as paralysis. Your new consciousness recognizes it as the moment when the system is rebooting, accumulating maximum power before the launch. This apparent stagnation is the final proof that you are detaching from the need for external validation. It is your graduation. And when you graduate from this test of faith, when you choose to trust the silence, you discover the true nature of this space. This moment of emptiness is not a vacuum, it is a womb. It is the fertile darkness from which all creation emerges. Quantum physics calls this state the zero-point field. Scientists have discovered that the deepest vacuum in the universe is not empty. It is teeming with infinite energetic potential. It is being before it becomes something. It is the ocean of all possibilities. You, in this moment of stillness, are floating in this sacred field. It is here that you are most connected to something greater, to the source itself. Here in this silence, all your potential futures coexist as a vibration, as a silent promise. Your healing, your peace, your abundance, all of it already exists here as a wave of pure energy. It's the field where you can use your energy and frequency to change your life. And what collapses one of these infinite potentials into your reality, your consciousness, your alignment, your choice, made not with the mind, but with the heart. You are at the center of the creative power of the universe, not to fight for something, but to choose which reality to invite into existence. And what is this moment of collapse like? How does the arrival of the new reality you chose in this field of potential feel? We have been taught to expect fireworks, a grand external event to validate our transformation. But the truth is much quieter and much deeper. The transformation happens most of the time in stillness. You may not feel any immediate external progress. The world around you might look exactly the same, but inside, the change has already occurred. It's a click, a settling, a morning when you wake up and the weight you had been carrying on your shoulders for years is simply no longer there. It's the realization that a situation that used to cause you panic now finds you in a state of serene peace. The outside world may not have changed, but your reaction to it has completely changed. And that is the only change that matters. That is the real breakthrough. You may feel tired of waiting for change and seeing everything stay the same, but true transformation is not in what you see, but in how you feel about what you see. It is the proof that you have learned to feel peace and fulfillment regardless of external circumstances. And what triggers this internal click? What in fact moves the quantum field? We have been taught to focus on the tools, affirmations, visualizations, rituals, and many of us have spent years practicing them with dedication, only to feel the same weariness of seeing everything remain the same. The truth is this: the universe does not respond to your words. It responds to the energy that vibrates beneath your words. It does not respond to your ritual. It responds to your essence as you perform the ritual. The tools are bridges. They are designed to help you access a state of being. But if the bridge doesn't take you to the other side, to the feeling of peace, trust, and fulfillment, then it is just an empty structure. If your dominant essence, your deepest state of being, is vibrating in fear, in urgency, or in doubt, this is the frequency that the mirror of the universe will echo. You can say, "I am prosperous," but if your body is screaming, "I am afraid of scarcity," it is the scream that will be reflected in your reality. The trigger is not what you do, it's who you are. It's allowing the stillness to undo you of everything you are not. Spiritual performance is the layer of effort that your mind, afraid of not being enough, adds to your essence. It's the need to be positive, to vibrate high, to do the right ritual. It is the exhaustion of trying to prove to the universe that you are worthy of your own healing. Allow the stillness to dissolve this performance. True embodiment, the incarnation of your new reality, happens in presence, not in action. It happens in the silence between your thoughts. It happens when you are simply washing the dishes, feeling the warmth of the water, with no other agenda. It is in these moments of pure presence, with no effort to manifest anything, that your new frequency has the space to settle into your cells and become your new nature. It's when you stop trying to be peace and you simply are peace. This is the kind of daily ritual that truly brings balance and inner connection. It is the path to becoming someone more conscious, who vibrates with presence. And what exactly is happening on a physical level while you rest in this presence? A reprogramming of your nervous system is taking place. Think of your old reactions of fear and stress as wide, deep highways, carved into your biology by years of repetition. Peace and trust, on the other hand, are at first just small, delicate trails in the forest of your mind. Every moment you spend in stillness, in presence, is a moment you stop traveling down the old highways of panic, and instead, you gently walk the new trail of peace. This is a physical process, and it needs space. You cannot rush it. Trying to force relaxation only creates more stress, which throws you right back onto the old highway. Spiritual neuroscience teaches us that the brain can be reprogrammed, but it requires an environment of safety. Your only job is not to force the change, but to create the conditions for coherence. It is to offer your body, through your presence and your intention, the safety it needs to abandon the old paths and trust the new ones. This process has its own sacred rhythm. Trust it. If your mind still doubts the beauty of this silent process, nature offers us its most perfect teaching: the mystery of the chrysalis. The caterpillar, at a certain point, is called to abandon the world it knows. It stops crawling, stops consuming, and surrenders to darkness and stillness. From the outside, it looks like the end. But the real transformation happens in the internal chaos. The caterpillar doesn't just fall asleep and wake up with wings. It dissolves. It completely breaks down, returning to a state of pure potential, a soup of primordial cells. Its entire former identity dies. What you felt as a collapse, as confusion and pain, was your version of this sacred process of dissolution. It was your return to pure potential, and it is only from this total surrender, from this inner chaos, that the cells of your new reality can begin to organize. They use the energy of what was undone to build something that has never existed before. The butterfly is not an improved caterpillar. It is a new expression of life, born from the courage to completely let go of what it was before. It is proof that rebirth is always preceded by inner chaos. So understand the deepest truth of everything you have been through. All the pain, the dissolution, the inner chaos, the feeling of being lost. It was not a mistake on your path. It was not a sign that you failed. It was metamorphosis. And the entire purpose of the stillness, of the chrysalis, of the silence, was not for you to get something from the universe. It was for you to stop performing, stop fighting, stop hiding, so that your true essence could finally present itself to the universe, pure, clear, without the noise of your old pain. The point of the stillness isn't to receive, it's to reveal. And it is this revealed essence that the universe mirrors as your new reality. Always remember this fundamental law: internal transformation precedes external change. The world you see is only an echo of the world you have become on the inside. And sometimes the echo takes a moment to return. That is why, if you are feeling this emptiness, this stillness, if you are still in the chrysalis waiting, I need you to hear this with all your soul. Do not despair. This is not the beginning of the path. It is the end. If you are in the void, you are already close. The exhaustion of trying to manifest change and seeing everything stay the same may shake your faith, but understand that the absence of external change is proof that the internal change is being completed on a deep level. The darkness of the chrysalis does not mean the light has abandoned you. It means your eyes are adjusting to withstand the brilliance of your own dawn. You are closer than you have ever been. Breathe. You have already arrived. But before you cross the threshold, there is one last test of alignment that may arise, one final echo of your old universe. The past may resurface. A person who hurt you may reach out. A situation that mirrors an old trauma may present itself. A trigger you believed you had healed is suddenly activated with force. Your mind, in its conditioned reflex, will panic, saying, "See, nothing has changed. I'm still stuck here." But your soul knows the truth. This is not a regression. It is your graduation test. It is the universe asking you the final question, not in words, but in experience. Who do you choose to be now? Will you react from your programming of pain, repeating the pattern, or will you respond from your new consciousness? Your only task is to respond with vibrational integrity. This means feeling the trigger, honoring the emotion that rises, but consciously choosing not to act from it. It is to respond as your future self would respond, with peace, with clarity, with detachment. You don't have to win the situation. You only need to hold your new frequency in the face of it. This is the moment to break the cycle of self-sabotage with awareness. It is the final proof that your healing is real. But it is vital that you understand the true nature of this test. It is not the universe as an external force sending you a challenge to see if you are worthy of passing to the next grade. The universe does not operate on the basis of human judgment of pass or fail. Remember, the universe does not punish or reward, it reflects. What you are experiencing is a coherence check from your own energy field. Think about this. As you fill yourself with the crystalline frequency of your new consciousness, that clarity and power naturally stir up and bring to the surface any residue of old energy that was still settled at the bottom of your system. The old pain, the old trauma, doesn't resurface because you are regressing. It resurfaces precisely because you are succeeding so much in your healing that your new light is, by its very nature, exposing the last shadows to be cleansed. It is not a test from the outside in, it is a purification from the inside out. It is your own soul, in its process of ascension, that reveals the final blockages so they can be overcome. And how does this old energy, this incoherence, try to pull you back? Rarely is it through a direct attack, it is through a whisper. A whisper that sounds perfectly logical and familiar. It might arise as a job offer that seems safe and sensible, but has no soul. It could be an invitation to return to a relationship that was comfortable, but kept you from growing. It might be the voice of your own reason, disguised as wisdom, telling you to be realistic, to abandon the unknown and return to the safety of a pain you already know how to manage. These are the most powerful temptations because they don't come dressed as fear, but as logic. They are your old programming, offering you one last chance to avoid the risk of your own greatness. And here, your final choice presents itself. It is the choice between the logic of your mind, based on the past, and the alignment of your heart, tuned to the future. You must choose alignment. It is the act of trusting your inner compass of peace, even if the world's map tells you you're lost. It is your final declaration of loyalty to your soul, not to your fear. And what is energetically this moment when the logical temptation presents itself? What is this portal between the past and the future? It is the final superposition. It is the moment when two timelines, that of your old self and that of your future self, overlap in your present. Both are real, both are possible, both are vibrating in your field, waiting for a decision. The safe job offer, the familiar relationship, the voice of reason. They are anchors from your past timeline, trying to keep you in their known gravity. The silent call of your soul, the sense of peace in the unknown, the resonance with the new. These are the whispers from your future timeline, and what collapses this superposition into a single reality? What makes you land in one world or the other? Your action, an action that is born not from your mind, but from your new essence. Acting from your future self, it is making the choice that the peaceful, healed, and whole person you are becoming would make. It is saying the no that your old self was afraid to say. It is taking the small step in the direction of what expands you, even if it makes no logical sense. Each of these actions is your observation. It is your vote. It is your instruction to the universe about which of these realities you now choose as your home. It is your chance to break the cycle of self-sabotage and transform your life. And the instant you act from your future self, the superposition collapses. Your aligned action is the conscious observation that turns potential into reality. The timeline of your past, with all its logical and familiar temptations, dissolves. It is no longer a real possibility for you. Your choice has made it a distant echo. Think of your new reality as a portal. For a long time, you may have tried to force your way through with effort, and you felt exhausted and frustrated. But the portal doesn't open with force. It opens with frequency. Coherence, the perfect alignment between what you feel, what you think, and what you do, is the key. It is not effort that opens the door. It is your vibration that unlocks it. Your act of aligning is not a struggle to get in. It is proof that you have already become the person who belongs on the other side. You don't force your way in, you are invited in because your essence now matches the essence of the new world. Look back now, for a moment, at all the pain, the confusion, the grief, the emptiness, and realize the most liberating truth of all. Your breakdown was not the event that happened before your breakthrough. Your breakdown was your breakthrough, happening in real time. The moment your old self broke was the moment your soul broke free. The day your faith was shaken and you felt completely lost was the exact instant you were forced to abandon the old map and find your true inner north. The dissolution of the caterpillar is the miracle of the butterfly. You were not waiting for the transformation to happen. You were in the middle of it, at its most potent and chaotic point. The breakdown and the breakthrough are not two separate events. They are just the names we give before and after to the same single sacred act of becoming who you really are. And now, after the metamorphosis, what is your role? After the breakthrough, what is your task? Your function from this moment on is a quiet one. It is no longer to fight, no longer to heal, no longer to try to transform. All that work has already been done. Your role now is simply to be the new self. I invite you to anchor this phrase in your consciousness. In your moments of stillness, or when an echo of the old fear tries to visit you, breathe deeply and remember gently, my only job is to be the new self. It's not to act like the new self. It is to be. It is to breathe from this new center of peace. It is to walk in the world with the quiet certainty of who you have become. This is the new daily ritual that brings balance and connection, and it is the path to becoming someone more conscious, vibrating with presence and gratitude. The journey of becoming is over. The journey of being has just begun. And what does this quantum leap feel like? How will you know that the new reality has finally collapsed? We have been taught to expect thunder, an external event to validate our arrival. But the true quantum leap most of the time feels nothing like a leap. It feels like a silent arrival. Imagine coming home after a journey that has lasted a lifetime. The feeling is not one of euphoria or thunderous drama. The feeling is one of deep, quiet relief. It is the sound of your own breath, finally at peace. It is the feeling of naturalness, of, there it is, of course. The great breakthrough is not a loud event. It is the silence that remains when the inner war is over. You will know you have arrived not by the grandeur of what happens on the outside, but by the unshakable stillness that has settled on the inside. It is true peace and fulfillment, independent of external circumstances. And the first evidence of this silent arrival in your daily life is a fundamental shift in your motivation. The race is over. You realize with a clarity that relaxes every muscle in your body that you are no longer chasing after anything or anyone. The need to prove your worth, to pursue approval, to hunt for happiness. It simply dissolves. This energy of lack, which kept you in a state of constant effort, disappears. Because it was based on the premise that what you needed was outside of you. In its place, a new posture emerges, that of being grounded in your new frequency. You no longer need to seek external validation because you have found your center of inner power. You no longer need to chase peace because you have become peace. You feel whole, regardless of external circumstances. It is the proof that you have once again come to believe in your own ability to heal and transform your life. And it is crucial that you understand the nature of this new peace, this feeling of being grounded. This is not inspiration. Inspiration is a visitor. It comes and goes. What you have built is infrastructure. It is the new foundation of your house. It is the new neurological wiring of your being. It is not an elevated state that you need to strive to maintain. It is your new default state. Your nervous system knows this. The calm, the clarity, the confidence. They are no longer choices you need to make in every moment. They have become automatic. The new trail in the forest of your mind is now the main road. The brain has, in fact, been reprogrammed. Your body no longer needs your conscious mind to remember how to feel safe. Safety has become your new biology. The transformation has ceased to be an effort and has become a reflex. It's who you are now. But there is one last subtle trick that your mind, accustomed to chaos, might try to play. It may doubt your new peace precisely because of its silence. The mind, for years, was a problem-solving machine. Drama was its job. In the absence of problems, it can feel bored, suspicious, and it will whisper, "Is this real? Did the transformation really happen? It can't be this simple." And from this doubt, it might invite you to do something dangerous, to poke at the peace, to test it. It's the impulse to revisit a painful memory just to see if it still hurts. It's the temptation to expose yourself to an old trigger to prove your healing. I ask you with all my heart, do not do this. Do not poke the healing wound to test your recovery. The absence of pain is all the proof you need. Trust your stillness. It is the sign that the new infrastructure is working perfectly. Leave it in peace. Protecting your silence is your new sacred practice, the final way to break the cycles of self-sabotage. So please, stop looking for more evidence. Your logical mind will never be satisfied. The proof that you have changed is not in a future event. The proof is already engraved in your cellular memory and in your journey to this point. If you felt your identity dissolving, feeling disconnected from the life purpose you once knew, if you felt the waves of recalibration, the emotional static, and the exhaustion of a soul in the midst of an upgrade, if you have known the stillness of the void, of the silence, the sacred space where you felt spiritually lost, then there is nothing left to prove. You have already arrived. Those feelings were not the obstacles to your arrival. They were the steps on the path. They were the signs. Your ability to walk through them is your diploma. You have already come to believe in your own ability to heal and transform your life, because you have lived the process firsthand. The evidence is not something you need to seek. It is something you have already become. And now that you have arrived, how do you live here? The old way of being was based on peaks of spiritual effort, bursts of energy, followed by exhaustion. It was the attempt to reach enlightenment through force. True transformation, however, is a sustained embodiment. It's no longer about having peaks of spiritual experience. It's about elevating your default state of being. It is the gentle and consistent practice of being your new self, not just in your rituals, but in every breath, in every interaction, in every silent moment. The quantum field aligns with consistency. It responds more to the constant whisper of your new frequency than to the occasional shout of effort. Your new life is not built on grand, dramatic acts, but on the infinite succession of present moments lived from a new center of peace and consciousness. This silent arrival, this metamorphosis, is not the end of your journey. It is the true beginning. It is the end of the long and painful journey back home, and the beginning of the beautiful and expansive journey of living from home, of living from your essence. This channel was created to be a safe harbor on this new journey, a space to go deeper together, to anchor this consciousness in our daily lives, in a world that often pulls us back into the noise. If this message has touched your heart and resonated with your soul, I invite you to join this community of awakening beings. Subscribe to the channel so we can continue to walk together. Leave a comment below, sharing a word or a feeling that this journey has awakened in you. Your sharing is a light that illuminates the path for others who may be feeling lost in the darkness of the chrysalis. And if you felt that someone in your life needs to hear these words, share this video. Be a beacon of hope and validation. Thank you for your presence. Until our next video, be at peace.